Hey everybody, it's Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for Robbie Rants. In fact, it's time for the first episode of the brand new weekly comic book review. Alright gang, that's right, this week's comics, and we start with the pick of the week. The Vision. Generation Gone was really cool, interesting, and very refreshing. This is basically Batman, God of War, or as I like to call him, Wonder Wayne. Dan Slott did this huge, crazy arc taking Peter back and forth, up and down over the last, 10 years? So it's nice to get a fresh voice on the character. New What If, I think this is the final of this current batch of What If books. It's What If Magic has become the Sorcerer Supreme, and this was probably the best one out of all of them. Fantastic work, a great conclusion. You guys just knocked this out of the park. You nailed the ending. You nailed that landing. You totally sold it. I love this book so much. I cannot wait to read it over and over and over for times to come. Now, let's jump over to Marvel. X-Men #1. That's right. It's the dawn of X. It's the show where I read a lot of comic books, and I'll let you know what I thought about them, and we always start with the pick of the week. But before we do that, let's address the elephant in the room. This is going to be the last weekly comic book review for the foreseeable future. I started doing these back in October of 2016. I have not missed a week yet, so it really sucks that I won't be able to do it next week, and that's because Diamond Comics has stopped distributing new print comics to comic shops. Not a lot of comic books today. In fact, no comic books available in print today. Diamond distribution is shut down. Comic shops are closed down for the most part. There are no new comics out, except for online. So I checked out Comixology to see what few offerings there were, and they are very few, but I found some really good ones I want to point out, including the pick of the week. And last week we had Diamond returning. This week we have Marvel Comics returning. So we finally have a proper stack of comic books, and it delivers a very personal, nuanced, tragic, and human tale. Let's jump over to DC Comics. We got Dark Knight's Death Metal issue #4, shiny foil cover. For me, this was by far the best issue of this. If you're a fan of Rom V, especially Rom V's indie work, I would highly encourage you to check this out. Anand Arcade was the artist along with Rom on the writing on books such as Graffiti's Wall and of course Blue and Green, which was one of my favorite comic book of the last few years. Radio Spaceman Mission to Numa 4 issue #2, the final part of this 2-issue series to introduce the world to this new character, Radio Spaceman from Mike Mignola. In the first issue, they lay all that groundwork. And in the second issue, one of those soldiers has become a cartoonist who is most popular for doing a strip called Junkyard Joe, which is based on this robotic hero that he had from his war experience. It gets a little talky, some talking head moments, but then there are moments where the art just absolutely shines. I can't show you many of those scenes because they happen at the end, and I don't want them to lose the impact when you read this story. I really liked it. I thought the artwork was great. The coloring provides an atmosphere and a mood. And Aditya Bidikar on the lettering, he's just one of the best letterers in the biz and probably will be of all time because he is that freaking impressive and his work is that much a part of the book. Honestly, I've never liked Spider-Man 2099 except for an issue of What The, where they introduced Spider-Ham 2099, and probably just because I thought it was really clever that his name is Miguel O'Hara. Yeah, I don't think I like this. I'm not going to keep reading this book. It's kind of got the color palette of, I don't know, something noirish, but it's also very kinetic, dynamic when it needs to be. It is a very solid detective story. It is a Batman Elseworlds type tale, so it's not set in any continuity. It is its own vision of Gotham, of Batman, of Gordon. It introduces a new villain, which is absolutely fascinating to me. The look of this book is absolutely striking. It is masterful. It is just downright masterful. The story is good. The story is solid. The story is very serviceable. But that artwork, oh my goodness, there is nothing like it in shops this week. There hasn't been anything like it in a while. Well, maybe. That's hyperbolic, but whatever. Anyway, thank you guys so much, and please do join us at popculturephilosophers.com for podcast blogs, top 5 lists, and a whole lot more. And like I said, please subscribe, click that thumbs up button. We'll catch you next time. Peace out. Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly comic book review live, everybody. We're here celebrating 7 years of the weekly comic book review. That's right, I've been doing this every single week for 7 years. I started in October, the beginning of October in 2016. We have not missed a week, even when Diamond shut down, Marvel stopped producing comics, DC stopped, they switched over to Lunar. Even when all that stuff happened, I went on to Comixology, I went and found indie creators, and I still delivered the weekly comic book review. That's 7 years straight, everybody, and we are here tonight to celebrate. In case you're checking this out on the replay and you're like, why is this video so long? I'm going to deliver the weekly comic book review. We're going to take a short break, then we're coming back for a Q&A, an AMA, a BST, whatever the hell you want to call it. That's what we're doing tonight. And you know, we always start with the pick of the week. And this week's pick of the week is no surprise to anybody, y'all. It's Transformers number 1 from Image Comics, Skybound to be exact, written and illustrated by Daniel Warren Johnson. I got a sneak peek of this a couple of months ago, and I've been telling y'all ever since that this book was going to be a big deal. Is it going to be scarce? Is it going to be rare? No. But is it going to be something that potentially could reinvigorate some small aspect of this comic book industry? I 100% think so. Why? Because Daniel Warren Johnson has been on the rise. Extremity into Murder Falcon. I'm missing some stuff. Ghost Fleet, Beta Ray Bill, Wonder Woman, Dead Earth, and then do a power bomb, continuing to impress everybody. His lines keep getting longer and longer every year at Heroes Con. This is an artist not to mess with. And now he has Transformers. So this is Robert Kirkman, who has gotten the license from Hasbro for Transformers and for G.I. Joe. It started in Void Rivals, where we got to see Jetfire in issue number 1. We've had subsequent appearances from other Transformers, but it's all been building up to this. This is a complete, from the ground up, retooling and rebooting of the Transformers mythology. It is using everything that we know about, from the cartoon, from the comic books, from the toy lines, from even the movies maybe. It's taken all of that stuff, but doing something very different with it. And it very quickly lets you know that this is not your father's Transformers. And we're not talking about G2. We're talking about G1 classic Daniel Warren Johnson excitement. So Robert Kirkman's got the wherewithal to be able to do this project, right? Because he made Walking Dead this huge smashing success. Hasbro's basically told Robert Kirkman, do whatever you want to do. He's decided to do his own thing within this world. That's Void Rivals. He's decided to throw the G.I. Joe books to Josh Williamson, friend of the show, and he's let Daniel Warren Johnson do whatever the hell he wants. This book is kinetic. This book is hyper. This book is exciting. This book is monumentous. I'm going to show you some pages, but I got to be careful what pages to show you, because this is a very explosive, like huge, bombastic issue. It has everything that you need to see in a Transformers book. It is not for kids, but it's not super mature or super for adults. But if you got small children that like Transformers, you might want to read this one first, because it deals with some heavy stuff. It deals with some exciting stuff, and I would encourage you to avoid the spoilers. The coloring is done by Mike Spicer. The lettering is done by Russ Wooten. Y'all, you don't even know how freaking awesome. I can't show you that one. Can't show you that. Oh, I can't show you that page at all. I'll show you this one. We know that Daniel Warren Johnson's gotten into wrestling recently. Well, how about Optimus Prime doing a clothesline to Starscream? How about them doing a suplex right there? Freaking awesome. Great artwork. A kinetic sense of energy. And it actually is already finding weight and gravity and heart to it. Come on, y'all. Pick of the week. Transformers number 1. All right. Also from Image this week, we got Sacrificers issue number 3. Rick Remender and Max Fiumara and Dave McCaig doing a really solid job with this book. It's about this world with a bunch of different like species, a bunch of different alien or a bunch of different creatures basically that live on this planet or this world or whatever it is. And it's ruled by these gods, these personifications of forces of nature, right? And they require every so often a sacrifice. So there's this group of kids that have been picked from all these different families, and some of them think that they're going for a party. Some think they're going to go be ascended into a higher plane of existence. But really, we know the true deal. They're just going to get eaten or something like that. So it's an interesting story. It's already been really solid for 2 issues. And in issue number 3, Rick Remender lets us kind of get to know some of these these gods and starts introducing new aspects, which are definitely going to be twisting and turning themselves around in the pages of The Sacrificers, 3 issues in, and I'm really liking it. The Untold Tales of I Hate Fairyland, issue number 4. This is an anthology series set in the world of I Hate Fairyland by different people other than Scotty Young. In this issue, we got Morgan Beam doing a story. It was cute. I did feel a little lost on this one, but I never finished the last I Hate Fairyland run. I've been reading the second one and really liking it. You got an amazing story by Jorge Corona. Fantastic, solid artwork on there, though I was a bit lost on that one as well. But then you got this neat story at the end by, let's find out who. Oh, that's the Jorge Corona story. Are there only 2 stories in this? There may be only 2 stories in this. Bear with me. Yeah, but that Jorge Corona stuff is awesome. If you like I Hate Fairyland, no reason why you're not going to like this. Other artists with that kind of same energy, but even some of it more energy, coming in to having their take on Scotty Young's tale. Then we got King Spawn, issue number 26. Cool Mike Deodato Jr. cover, right? No, that's a Nagu cover. That's right. What's his first name? Kale Nagu. Oh, Mike Deodato did the other cover. This was a solid issue of King Spawn. Ever since Todd has taken over the writing duties on King Spawn, it hasn't been as solid as it was under Sean Lewis, but it's still been pretty good. And in this one, you got Al just basically, now that there's this war for Hell's Throne going on, he's like said, screw it. Angels, demons, green people, whatever the hell faction you're a part of, I'm tearing ass, and I'm just going to cut right through you. So it's got some really great artwork, some really big, cool moments. It's Spawn doing what Spawn do. It's King Spawn, cardstock cover, $2.99. One of the greatest deals in comics. Let's jump over to Marvel. G.O.D.S, issue number 1. It's the new one from Jonathan Hickman. And I will say this. It is a very solid comic, but I do find myself a little bit underwhelmed. Right? So Hickman's been teasing this. Marvel's been promoting this like crazy for a while. They want us to believe that it's a big deal. But even reading this issue, and I read it like a month ago for the first time, and I told people on Rockin Robbie Live, it was a bit underwhelming. I mean, it's all right. It's got some solid artwork. It's got some cool ideas. Basically, it's about this dude who is like the avatar, the agent of the powers that be. And then there's this other faction, a group of people who represent the, what is it called? Like the way that things ought to be or something like that. So he represents the powers that be. And other people represent, what is it called? Why can I not find it right now? Anyway, 2 opposing sides. They each have their own god that they worship, something like that. So it's tweaking and playing with the cosmology of the Marvel Universe, and I'm down for Hickman doing that, but it's a really solid book. I'm not going to lie. It's a really solid issue. It's basically a love story in the midst of all this crazy superhero shenanigan type stuff. But it doesn't feel big. It doesn't feel important. It doesn't feel like it's a must-read. It doesn't feel like House of X number 1 did, or Powers of 10 number 1 did. And I'm not saying that it has to be like that, but for Hickman to come out with a new project at Marvel and with all the promotion that Marvel's giving and pushing behind this book, I was expecting a bit more. It's got solid artwork. It's got some cool story ideas. It's got some interesting new characters, but it does this annoying thing that I kind of hate where they're like, these characters are supposed to have always existed in this world and everybody knows who they are and we're just going to act like we're not supposed to, but I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what the other faction's called. It's the powers that be and the natural order of things. That's what it is. Solid artwork. Feels like it should be more epic in scale, though, especially for a $10 price tag. This is a $10 comic that I could only recommend to the most hardcore of hardcore Hickman fans, and I am one of those, but I found it to be a bit underwhelming, though not as underwhelming as I found Ultimate Invasion. Then we got Fantastic Four here with issue number 12. Issue number 12 of Fantastic Four. Ryan North's been doing a good job with Fantastic Four. It's not one of the best runs I've ever read. I can't believe we're 12 issues into it already, but it's been solid. It's been decent. Each issue basically is telling a self-contained story, part of a larger overall narrative. I've been critical of the coloring. In this one, I'm going to be critical of Iban Coelho's artwork here because he doesn't like to draw necks on the thing. He just draws like basically what looks to be like a floating thing head, and
That's not quite cool. Anyway, the Fantastic Four come across a rift in space-time. They wind up going to this world where everybody's dinosaurs. They basically go into the Jurassic League comic, but for Marvel. But it's got a really cool spin and twist at the end that I'm really excited to see. An introduction of a new version of a fan favorite character that I think is pretty badass. So, Fantastic Four did its job. I liked it. We also got this Frank Miller cover. Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, Frank Miller. I like that. I mean, everybody's so hyper-crouched in Frank Miller's current work. I'm going to tell you that. All right, Doctor Strange is here with issue number 8. I've been liking Doctor Strange. Jed MacKay's been doing a great job on Moon Knight. Haven't really been liking his work on the Avengers, but I really like what he's building up in Doctor Strange. Basically, they've set up this story where Doctor Strange had to go and fight this mystical war. It took 5,000 years. He became this like really almost near evil General Strange type character. And then the powers that be, not the powers that be, that's from the G.O.D.S book. By the way, G.O.D.S is technically the name of that G.O.D.S book. What does that even mean? What's it supposed to represent? I don't know. It is what it is. Maybe we'll find out. I hope every issue's not $10. Because sales are going to plummet on that one for sure. All right, Doctor Strange, though. So the people that Doctor Strange did this battle for, the Vishanti, right? They have wiped his mind clear of the 5,000 years of memory so that iteration of Doctor Strange doesn't exist anymore. But during the shenanigans of the death and return of Doctor Strange, that character got loose. So now you got this evil 5,000-year-old war veteran Doctor Strange out there trying to just wreck shit, right? And that's what's going on, but it's really cool. Great artwork by Pascal Ferry, and I'm digging what's going on in the pages of Doctor Strange. Then we got Red Goblin, issue number 9. Our friend Alex Packnadell's been doing a great job exploring the legacy of evil through the eyes of a child. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again because I've been doing this for 7 years, and I like to repeat myself. Any book about a kid who gets a symbiote, that sounds dumb as shit to me, right? But Alex is actually making it work with a rather nuanced and tragically brutal tale about the legacy of evil and the sins of the father. Red Goblin, really, really digging that. Let's jump over to DC Comics. From DC Comics, we have DC Ghouls Just Want to Have Fun. This is an anthology, Halloween horror-themed type thing with a bunch of different characters from DC. Honestly, not anything stuck out, really. It's a $10 book that's not really worth it. If you're going to buy a $10 book, I would recommend G.O.D.S over this one. Though it does have some nice little bits here and there. It's got some great artwork by Tyler Crook in some moments. It's got some decent stories here and there. But overall, it doesn't really do anything, doesn't really overly impress me, and it's just one of those another forgettable DC seasonally themed anthology. Then we got Batman 138 here, continuing the Batman Catwoman Gotham War, which I am just loving. Now, who in their right mind in the Bat family thought it would be a good idea to tell Batman, yo, Catwoman's training all these thieves to be non-violent, so when Catwoman's people are committing crimes, let's just ignore them because we're maintaining less violence on the streets. Batman ain't gonna go for that, especially a Batman that's possessed by a multiverse of Zur and Ars. Batman is cracking up. He has kidnapped Jason Todd. He ain't got no good plans for him, trust me, but you got a big emotional and physical battle involving Damian, involving Tim, involving Dick, and involving Bruce, and it just keeps ramping up, and I think Chip Zdarsky has really done a solid job. Great job with the failsafe arc. The second arc, the multiverse thing, was all right, but they pulled it together at the end to set all of this up, and I am having the time of my life with the Batman Catwoman Gotham War right now. Birds of Prey is here with issue number 2, and I can confirm it is Jordi Belaire's coloring that I cannot stand in this book. I like the choices of palette, but there is something about them levels that just does not pump up enough, and it makes the book come across very fuzzy, very muddy, and it does not have a very clear kind of sense. The line work is great. The story is pretty solid. Basically, Dinah has gotten together the Birds of Prey with some new characters like Zealot and Big Barda, or should I say, new characters to the Birds of Prey. They have a mission to go save Black Canary's sister from Themyscira, right? So it's a cool setup for the story. The characterization is spot on. The line work and the compositions by Leonardo Romero are great, and even the color choices as far as palette, for the most part, work by Jordi Belaire. However, there is something about the levels, something about the way it's colored that just comes across very hard to pay. It's very hard for me to look at this book. Like, I like the book. I think it's solid. and it's got moments that are cool, but there is something about that color. It comes across as fuzzy. Then we got Shazam here with issue number 4, the best issue of Mark Waid and Dan Mora's Shazam yet. Lots of fun, lots of cool stuff going on. Basically, every one of these mythological figures that's responsible for giving Shazam his abilities, S for Solomon, H for Hercules, I think. Maybe it's Hermes. Atlas, Zeus. There's an M in there. Is that Mercury? I don't know. But anyway, they're basically taking turns trying to manipulate Shazam to doing what they want. And it's messing him up, messing his life up, messing the powers of Shazam up. Plus, you got these dinosaur people. You got the Gorilla City stuff. You got a lot of different things going on. But this book kind of has a nice tongue-in-cheek approach to it and very classic comic book feeling. And that's definitely something you're going to get from Mark Waid. And the artwork by Dan Mora is top-notch. Fire and Ice, welcome to Smallville, issue number 2. I liked issue number 1. I really liked issue number 2. It's not a book that's taking itself too seriously. It's taking 2 of these characters that are basically D-listers, Fire and Ice. They used to be part of that Justice League run by Keith Giffen, J.M. DeMatteis, and Kevin Maguire from the 80s. Really solid runs. Lots of references to that. But basically, Fire and Ice, they're not popular anymore. They're not main-time superheroes. So they wind up in Smallville. Superman sends them to Smallville so that Fire mostly can't get into any trouble. Fire and Ice are growing apart. They've always been best friends. They're trying to run a hair salon right now in Smallville. Meanwhile, Fire's trying to do whatever she can to stay relevant. You got great artwork from, I think it's Natalia Bustos or whatever. But the book knows exactly what it's trying to do. It's got a charm to it, and it's got a great sense of fun. So there you go. Fire and Ice. Welcome to Smallville, issue number 2. Poison Ivy is here with issue number 15. I am loving what G. Willow Wilson and Mariko Takara are doing here in the pages of Poison Ivy. When this book first started, I was like, I'm not liking how they're trying to tread this line of Pamela being really evil, but also kind of being like this anti-hero. But they've really ironed all of that out. In just 15 issues, this has become one of my favorite books at DC, one of the most consistent books at DC, and the artwork is absolutely fantastic. A great iteration of Killer Croc right there. The way that we're seeing the powers being used with Pamela and some of the other plant-based characters is absolutely top-notch. I'm loving Poison Ivy. Then we got Blue Beetle here with issue number 2. This is the same team from the Blue Beetle Graduation Day storyline, which I stopped reading in the middle of it. But on issue number 1 of this series, I didn't feel lost. I actually fell right into the story, and I loved the art, and I loved the kinetic energy that it was providing. In this issue number 2, I do feel a little bit lost. It has to pull back a little bit more, give us some more heavy exposition to catch us all back up. That's one of the problems when you're rebooting constantly, is that you constantly have to get people caught up, especially when you're rebooting with the same team, with the same vibe and story being told. That being said, I thought the issue was cool. I love the artwork. It's got some big, powerful stuff in it, but I will say it's given me very much Power Rangers Radiant Black kind of vibes, so there you go. Then we got Peacemaker Tries Hard with issue number 6. Man, I love this Peacemaker book. This is the final issue, but it brings it to a very satisfying conclusion that is funny, crudely irreverent, and at the same time filled with an earnest sincerity that just blew me away. Kyle Starks has been doing a hell of a job with this. If you like the James Gunn Peacemaker series starring John Cena, no reason why you're not going to like this. It's big, it's doofy, it's goofy, and it's stupid, but it is just straight up fun. And this issue tugged at my heartstrings. Let's jump over to Dynamite Comics, where we got Vampirella Dead Flowers, issue number 1. I got the cool shiny cover, Lucio Perillo cover, homage to Frank Frazetta, because this issue, and of course Frank Frazetta did that first cover for Vampirella number 1 back in 1969, but this is written by his granddaughter, Sarah Frazetta, along with Bob Freeman, and amazing artwork, actually, from Alberto Locatelli with the brewing factory on the coloring. It has a direct reference to Frank Frazetta. Frank Frazetta actually shows up in the book, but it doesn't come across as cheesy or anything like that. It kind of had this old school kind of vibe to it with its narration and with the dialogue. I really liked the simplistic approach with the coloring. I really liked the energy that it was providing, and I didn't know what I was going to be getting in for with this one. I was rather excited because I think Sarah Frazetta has done an amazing job of continuing the legacy of Frank Frazetta, and she is a steward of that legacy, and she's been doing a fantastic job, more so than many other people who are controlling the arts and licenses and estates of their parents or grandparents as creatives, but absolutely fantastic. I loved this book. I thought that was really good. Also, to celebrate, we got this facsimile edition of Vampirella #1 with like a, I don't know what it is, kind of like, it almost looks like a montage stained glass type thing where they took like Frank Frazetta's image and cut it up or something, so it's a different cover, but on the inside it is the old school Vampirella #1, so if you've ever wanted to check that out, I would highly recommend that you do so. All right, then we got Alice Cooper issue #1. It's a runner-up for cover of the week right there, y'all. I really like this cover. I like Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper comics are usually silly. This is written by Rodney Barnes, who most people know from Philadelphia. But I was excited to check this one out, see what they do with it. And here's the premise of the book. Lucifer, the devil, Satan, decides that he wants to come to Earth and be a blues musician. He wants to be a rock and roller or something like that, right? But he knows he's only going to appeal to people over 45 years of age. So he starts going out and taking out any musician who's over the age of 45, so that he has no competition, because the devil doesn't like to lose. So Alice Cooper, being a being of darkness and a being of light, has to eventually come up against the devil. That's what it is. Satan versus Alice Cooper for the souls of almost every musician over the age of 45. It's got a great sense of fun about it, and it's not taking itself too seriously. And really impressed with the cardstock on the Dynamite books this week. All right, then we got Disney Villains Maleficent issue #5. I do believe this is the final issue for now of this Sue Lee written and illustrated series, which has been fantastic. Usually mostly silent, but the art speaks for itself. Sue Lee, she is an absolutely fantastic artist, and what a vision to bring to the pages of Maleficent. The character is there, the artwork and the aesthetic is there, and it did have kind of an abrupt ending, but I really feel like it's leaning in to a second series being announced soon, and I really hope so, because this Maleficent book has been the best out of all the Disney stuff that Dynamite has been doing so far. However, they're not slouching when it comes to Darkwing Duck. Here is Darkwing Duck with issue #9, Ken Hazer Batman homage covered, homaging the work of David Finch. I really like Darkwing Duck. This is right in line with the TV show, the animated series from the 90s. I was a big fan of that. I was a big fan of the toys, though I never had them. I would look at them all the time, but I had to buy other toys, like X-Men toys instead. But man, there is something about the world of Darkwing Duck that I love, and 9 issues in, this book has just continued to impress me. They even impressed me with the Negaduck book that came out a couple of weeks ago. Darkwing Duck #9, though, if you're a fan of that series, there's no reason why you're not going to like this book. Plus, you got Gizmo Duck and others in there, and setting up the Justice Ducks series that they were talking about. From Mad Cave Studios, we got The Devil That Wears My Face. This is from our friends David Papose and Alex Cormack and Justin Birch. This is an awesome book. If you are ready for some nice, dark, gnarly, exorcism-related horror in comics, look no further than this book. David Papose crafts a really cool tale that is firmly set in the history of the Catholic Church and the Vatican, but it's also firmly set and rooted in exorcism fiction. And then Alex Cormack, I mean, I love Alex's artwork, but this is actually taking it to another level. Great use of black, great spotting of blacks, great use of atmosphere, really, really foreboding, really great work on the figures. It works so much, and it's way different than Alex's typical work. And Justin Birch is also leveling up his lettering. This was a really cool, fun book. So if you watched The Pope's Exorcist, or whatever that movie was called with Russell Crowe, you felt disappointed, just check this out. Basic premise is this. What if a demon possesses the best exorcist the Vatican has? Pretty cool. So there you go. All right. From Boom Studios, we have Abbott, 1979, issue #1, Saladin Ahmed, Sammy Cavella, returning to this title. This is the 3rd series of the Abbott franchise. Abbott 72, Abbott 70-something, I think, and now Abbott 79. Our main character has been down on her luck. She is not in a good space. If you have not read the previous runs, you will be lost. I would encourage you to read those because they got great artwork. They got a really cool story. It's about this woman, a black journalist in Detroit who has ties to like voodoo and like supernatural kind of power sets, but her life is just completely fallen apart, and now the evil is back just when her powers are at their weakest. So that was really cool. Also, by the way, I forgot to tell you this. The smell of the week is Vampirella. The smell on this is actually really cool, and the art is absolutely fantastic as well. Can't forget to do the smell of the week. All right. From Dark Horse Comics, we got the Midnite Show, issue number 1. This is written by Cullen Bunn, with art by Brian Hurt, coloring by Bill Crabtree. I liked this. So it's about this movie that was made and then lost by, basically, imagine if Lon Chaney Sr. was also a film director. So he directed his own films, he starred in his own films, all this kind of stuff, and then he had a lost film. Well, this lost film has been found, and it involves all the classic monsters, but by watching this film, it starts bringing those monsters to life. So it actually was a really cool book. Cullen Bunn knows horror. He knows horror movies. I've actually chatted with him briefly about horror movies. One time at Memphis Comic Expo, we were at the same toy vendor. He knows his horror. He knows what these classic monsters are and what they represent. And he's playing around here and like doing this really nice like nostalgia type thing about horror hosts and old school horror movies, the silent era, the Universal Monsters classic era, the Hammer stuff. All of it comes together in here. It's got a little bit of Fright Night vibes at times, but a little bit more meta than even Fright Night was. All right, from Whatnot/Massive Publishing, we have The Plot Holes, issue number 2. Sean Gordon Murphy just killing it on this book. The Plot Holes are a group of team. They are rejected fictional characters from books that no longer exist or have been wiped out because they're these bookworms that go through fiction and destroy fiction and destroy worlds. And they're the ones who have to go in and basically edit out all the wrong stuff, take out the bookworms, and make sure that the right books and the right fiction gets to survive. So you got a bunch of different styles being explored by Sean Murphy, but not so much in his line work, but mostly just in the structure and the layouts and stuff like that. But I'm really enjoying it. I thought issue number 1 was solid and a decent setup, but issue 2 actually really helped carry that forward and kicked up the momentum for me just a little bit. Ribbon Queen is here with issue number 3. I'm going to say the same thing about Garth Ennis's Ribbon Queen that I've said about issue 1 and issue number 2. I'm reading this book and I'm finding it to be a little overly verbose, a little slow, a little draggy, and then all of a sudden, by the end of it, the last third just ramps it back up again. It gets super gnarly and it just completely grabs my interest yet again. Once again, the same thing happens in issue number 3, but we are developing that mystery out, knowing a little bit more information about what's actually going on, but it's actually not helping us have a more clear vision of what's going on in this book, but it does just keep ramping up my engagement. All right. Then we got Dominatrix here with issue number 3. This book is created by Gene Simmons. This book is not good, but I like it. It's about a dominatrix who finds a stash of pills that give her superpowers. Kind of like Miraglow from like Our Man or something. So think that. Imagine that. You take a pill, you get superpowers, but you're also a dominatrix. So that's her whole shtick. The book itself is not good. I actually wish it really leaned into like the sexiness of it, but the art inside doesn't quite match the covers. I mean, it's decent and it's okay, but I wish this book leaned into, come on, y'all. You know what this book wants to be. This book wants to be Skinamax TNA special. Just go for it. Just be unabashedly about it. Just be irreverent. Be subversive. Be transgressive. Be in your face. Do it. And make the book worth picking up more than just the cover. And yes, cover of the week right there, y'all. Why? Because I can. All right. A little bit of a bitch fest here. There's a new Daniel Clowes book out. We haven't had a Daniel Clowes book since 2016 with Patience. I was so excited. I've been waiting, oozing with anticipation for the arrival of Monica by Daniel Clowes. And Diamond has not sent us our copies yet. I don't know when they're going to send them to us. I ordered plenty. But Diamond didn't send them to me. So I didn't get a chance to read it. So I don't know what to tell you about it. But I'll tell you this. If you pick up Monica, let me know what you thought about it with no spoilers. I got more copies on the way from a different distributor that I guarantee will be here this week. So hopefully in a couple days, they'll come in and I'll be able to read it. And then we can talk about it maybe on Saturday night during the Cowboys game for Rockin Robbie Live. But Monica by Daniel Clowes is out. And here's the thing. Y'all need to help me out here, okay? Fantagraphics. I can only get Fantagraphics books for the most part through Diamond at my shop, right? Now we can use some other distributors, but it's not always like Diamond's where I mostly get my initial orders of Fantagraphics. I want to cover way more Fantagraphic stuff, but Diamond keeps screwing us, and the prices are always a little bit ridiculous sometimes on some of their stuff. Here's what I'm saying. Who out there can help me? Who out there can say, thank you for 7 years of the weekly comic book review. Here's how to get in touch with Fantagraphics. Here's how to get on their list. Here's how to get, like, if they would have sent me a copy of Monica, I'd already had that bitch read, and we'd be talking about it right now. However, Diamond screwed us. But who can hook me up with Fantagraphics? Anybody have any information, let me know. I really want to hook up with those guys and do some coverage for them. But we got some other trades I want to talk about. We got the EC Archives. I've been talking about these paperback Dark Horse editions of the EC books. There's Weird Fantasy, volume number 2. I absolutely love this stuff. In this book, you're going to get art from Jack Kamen. You're going to get art from Wally Wood, Al Feldstein. Who else? Wally Wood, George Russo's. A really great, just who's who, a murderer's row, if you will, of comic book artists. We also got the Eerie Archives Volume 1. Just like with the EC books, Dark Horse is now doing paperback editions of Eerie and Creepy. 2 of Creepy have come out. The first one of Eerie is out. You're also going to find work from Wally Wood in here. You're going to find work from, let's see, Jack Davis, Joe Orlando, Johnny Craig, Gray Morrow, John Severin, Gene Colan, Alex Toth, Al Williamson, Steve Ditko. I mean, come on, y'all. That's a true murderer's row. These are some of the best weird fantasy horror comics you can find. So there you go. And this isn't new this week, but it went out of print for a moment, or it went out of stock for a moment, but I snatched it back up as soon as it came back in stock. But I did get my copy of Murky World, part of Dark Horse's new Richard Corbin library. I've never read this, and I got the Den Book one right now, which is being remastered by Jose Villarrubia, but I'm very, very excited to dive into this whenever I get the chance. So let's recap. Finally got my copy of Murky World in, so that's cool. Eerie Archives Volume 1 out this week. Weird Fantasy Volume 2 EC Archives out this week. Monica by Daniel Clowes. Where's it at? I don't know. I was half tempted to drive to the bookstore today to grab it. I was half tempted to go to the bookstore to grab that book. If anybody can hook me up with Fantagraphics, let me know. Dominatrix, cover of the week, but they really need to have some balls inside of that book. Ribbon Queen, same thing. Slow at the beginning, crazy at the end. The plot holes improved on the concept and the momentum established in issue number 1. The Midnite Show, a really cool love letter to old classic monster movies and horror hosts. Abbott 1979, the start of the 3rd and maybe final volume of this detective story, this journalist story. It is also supernatural, really cool stuff. The Devil That Wears My Face, 2 friends of the show, 3 actually, hanging out together, working together, producing some really great exorcism fiction in comic book form. Darkwing Duck. If you love Darkwing Duck, you're going to love that book. Maleficent, my favorite Disney book that Dynamite has done so far. I thought that was absolutely amazing. Alice Cooper, number 1. Very surprising how much I love this book. Don't expect too much out of it, but there you go. Facsimile of Vampirella number 1 with the new cover, if you want to get the original issue. Then we got Vampirella Dead Flowers number 1. I got that Perillo foil. That's a beautiful cover. That is also the smell of the week. Could be the cover of the week, honestly, but I like the dominatrix bit. All right, Peacemaker tries hard, an excellent conclusion to what has been an excellent series. Blue Beetle number 2 continues some of that exciting kinetic energy, but it does get a little bit clunky with exposition. Poison Ivy's been one of DC's most consistent books. Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville, not taking itself too seriously, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't pay attention to it. Shazam number 4, the best issue of that title so far. Birds of Prey number 2, something about that coloring, something about those choices, the way it's printing is just fuzzy, and it looks off, and it looks like, you know, like when you put on like 3D glasses and you're looking at something that's not meant to be looked at with the 3D glasses, and it's kind of fuzzy and like headache inducing. That's what it feels like. Batman, I'm loving it. Ghouls, just want to have fun. That's skippable unless you're just that much of a sucker for Halloween anthologies. Red Goblin, really great work from Alex Packnadel being done there. Doctor Strange, really great work from Jed McKay and Pascal Ferry being done there. Fantastic Four with the Frank Miller cover and the Alex Ross cover. Really cool, self-contained one-and-done story. That does set up another issue that I'm very excited about, and I hope they make an action figure of it. Gods, though, by Hickman, it was good, but I can't say it justifies a $10 price tag, and it just kind of feels underwhelming in its scale and scope because of it. King Spawn, it was fun. Some really great artwork there. I Hate Fairyland, loving this book, super fun. The Sacrificers actually expands on their world and builds up some of those characters. But the pick of the week is Transformers #1. Transformers #1. Daniel Warren Johnson, Mike Spicer, Russ Wooten. Great lettering, great coloring, great compositions, great layouts, great energy, great story, great characterizations, great retooling and reinterpreting of the Transformers mythology, y'all. I am telling you, everybody that I've shown this book to has absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. Everybody at my shop is excited. Everybody I've been talking to is excited. So get it in right now. Transformers #1. That's your pick of the week. All right, that's what I thought. What are you reading? What are you digging? Let us know in the comments down below. And I really do appreciate it. We're about to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to continue the celebration of 7 years of the weekly comic book review. Let's have another one of those blasts from the past, everybody.
Hey everybody, it's Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for Robbie Rants. In fact, it's time for the first episode of the brand new weekly comic book review. Alright gang, that's right, this week's comics, and we start with the pick of the week. The Vision. Generation Gone was really cool, interesting, and very refreshing. This is basically Batman, God of War, or as I like to call him, Wonder Wayne. Dan Slott did this huge, crazy arc taking Peter back and forth, up and down over the last, 10 years? So it's nice to get a fresh voice on the character. New What If, I think this is the final of this current batch of What If books. It's What If Magic has become the Sorcerer Supreme, and this was probably the best one out of all of them. Fantastic work, a great conclusion. You guys just knocked this out of the park. You nailed the ending. You nailed that landing. You totally sold it. I love this book so much. I cannot wait to read it over and over and over for times to come. Now, let's jump over to Marvel. X-Men #1. That's right. It's the dawn of X. It's the show where I read a lot of comic books, and I'll let you know what I thought about them, and we always start with the pick of the week. But before we do that, let's address the elephant in the room. This is going to be the last weekly comic book review for the foreseeable future. I started doing these back in October of 2016. I have not missed a week yet, so it really sucks that I won't be able to do it next week, and that's because Diamond Comics has stopped distributing new print comics to comic shops. Not a lot of comic books today. In fact, no comic books available in print today. Diamond distribution is shut down. Comic shops are closed down for the most part. There are no new comics out, except for online. So I checked out Comixology to see what few offerings there were, and they are very few, but I found some really good ones I want to point out, including the pick of the week. And last week we had Diamond returning. This week we have Marvel Comics returning. So we finally have a proper stack of comic books, and it delivers a very personal, nuanced, tragic, and human tale. Jump over to DC Comics. We got Dark Knight's Death Metal issue #4, shiny foil cover. For me, this was by far the best issue of this. If you're a fan of Rom V, especially Rom V's indie work, I would highly encourage you to check this out. Anand Arcade was the artist along with Rom on the writing on books such as Graffiti's Wall and of course Blue and Green, which was one of my favorite comic book of the last few years. Radio Spaceman Mission to Numa 4 issue #2, the final part of this 2-issue series to introduce the world to this new character, Radio Spaceman, from Mike Mignola. In the first issue, they lay all that groundwork. And in the second issue, one of those soldiers has become a cartoonist who is most popular for doing a strip called Junkyard Joe, which is based on this robotic hero that he had from his war experience. It gets a little talky, some talking head moments, but then there are moments where the art just absolutely shines. I can't show you many of those scenes because they happen at the end. And I don't want them to lose the impact when you read this story. I really liked it. I thought the artwork was great. The coloring provides an atmosphere and a mood. And Aditya Bidikar on the lettering, he's just one of the best letterers in the biz and probably will be of all time because he is that freaking impressive and his work is that much a part of the book. Honestly, I've never liked Spider-Man 2099 except for an issue of What The, where they introduced Spider-Ham 2099, and probably just because I thought it was really clever that his name is Pigel O'Hara or O'Hara. Yeah, I don't think I like this. I'm not going to keep reading this book. It's kind of got the color palette of
I don't know, something noirish, but it's also very kinetic, dynamic when it needs to be. It is a very solid detective story. It is a Batman Elseworlds type tale, so it's not set in any continuity. It is its own vision of Gotham, of Batman, of Gordon. It introduces a new villain, which is absolutely fascinating to me. The look of this book is absolutely striking. It is masterful. It is just downright masterful. The story is good. The story is solid. The story is very serviceable. But that artwork, oh my goodness, there is nothing like it in shops this week. There hasn't been anything like it in a while. Well, maybe. That's hyperbolic, but whatever.
Anyway, thank you guys so much. And please do join us at popculturephilosophers.com for podcast blogs, top 5 lists, and a whole lot more. And like I said, please subscribe. Click that thumbs up button. We'll catch you next time. Peace out.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the after show. We just finished the weekly comic book review. Pick of the week was Transformers #1 by Daniel Warren Johnson. We're now here for a little bit of an AMA, a little bit of a Q&A, a little bit of TNA, and a little bit of BSA. Whatever that means. All right. I'm going to take a look at the chat, though, and look at your comments. And whatever you want to talk about, get it in right now. We're going to be live for about another 30 minutes or so. And we'll just chat, everybody. But I just want to say, first of all, thank you for making this possible. We started this channel. The channel is not 7 years old. The channel is like 8.5 years old, right? We started the channel in July of 2015. And in like May of 2016, I did a video about DC Rebirth, and I did a video about the 3 Jokers. And the 3 Jokers video did really well all of a sudden. Like, best video we had for a long, long time. The highest viewed video and all that stuff, right? And I was like, man, I think people would like me to do comic book reviews. So I started doing like reviews of certain #1 issues here and there. And then I just said, you know what? I want to do something weekly. I can do a weekly comic book review. And so on October 5th, I believe it was, 2016, we did the first weekly comic book review. And so every first new comic book day of October, I like to always think back and go, man, we did it again. And there was a time, there was a moment where I had a hospital visit. During that, we still did the review. I just did it Friday when I got back from the hospital. There was a time when Diamond stopped distributing comics and you couldn't get any print comics. And I thought we were going to end our streak, and I never did. I came right back the next week with digital comics, and I did that for like a couple months until comic books came back. The only reason why this is possible is because y'all watch. Because you watch, we've built this community. Y'all are the all-stars. I've gotten a lot of congratulations today for 7 years of the weekly comic book review, but let me tell y'all something. It's not me that deserves the congratulations. It's you. So this shot is for you. We got some Cuervo silver here, baby. We're going to have a nice shot. And then we're going to hang out and just chill. Sound good? Here's to 7 more years of the weekly comic book review. Thank you for being a friend, y'all. Delicious. All right. Okay, I can't go back and see all of the comments, but Rogue Collecting's in the house. R. Ariaga says, bets for pick of the week. Eric is in the house. What's up, Eric? Steph's in the house. Ariaga says, Transformers will be the pick 100%. You were right, bruh. Of course, I kind of told everybody that on Sunday, too. It's like, I've already read G.O.D.S. I've already read my Image books. I've already read DC. I've already read a lot of these books. Can't really imagine anything overtaking Transformers. My hype is real on that one. Chris, what is up? Let's see how G.O.D.S is. G.O.D.S is good, but it's not justifying a $10 price tag. And it doesn't feel epic. Blood Splatter Chatter says, hell yeah, didn't know this guy did comics too. Yeah, didn't know that you used to do comics, bro. You used to be here every month talking about comics with us. Hey, what's up, Sam? What's up, Easy Reader? Who's the skinny kid? Oh, that's me. It's really crazy to see that video and see, like, the evolution of the weekly comic book review. I wish I would have had more time to put together more, but I didn't. Eric says, 7 flipping years, that's wild. I agree. Rogue Collecting says, love seeing the evolution. We're lucky to have you, Rockin Robbie. Hey, Stu is here, who made his first appearance on PCP last night for the Tales from the Hood review. Did a great job, too. Station, everyone, good evening. We got Big Herm in the house. What's up, Big Herm? Oh, Eric, you're welcome. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Stu. We got Fable in the house. Thank you. Says, station, everyone. Happy anniversary, Robbie. Love you, bro. I love you, too. Big Herm wants to bring back the Yankee hat. Maybe I should have worn the Yankee hat today. Damn, maybe I should have, actually. I just got a fresh cut, you know. Nominated for Best Hair. By the way, since you're here, we've been nominated for 6 CBC Awards. Go to cbcawards.org and vote for us. For favorite channel, best collaboration with the monthly comic book review, best hands, mustache, facial hair, or hair. So that's like beard too. Best comic book review, best ongoing series for the weekly comic book review, and comic book community channel of the year. We would appreciate that. Sorry, I've been gassy today. DoorDash was having an insane deal on a bunch of taco places where, like, if you spent $15, they gave you a $12 off coupon. So I had some tacos with extra peppers and onions, and maybe I shouldn't have done that. Ariaga, Radio Apocalypse, I prepaid for those, still waiting. Yeah, I put that in there because I was like, well, I'm waiting for it too, bro. David says, the audio has really improved a lot. Well, thank you so much. We've been using the same microphone like from the beginning. I've been using the same microphone. Not this one. This is my live mic. But the other mic, which is this, that thing right there. It's just like a Rode shotgun mic. And I mean, that's what I've been using. I just got better at like actually knowing where to put it, I guess. Happy anniversary to Robbie and all the PCP Army. Station pop pop boom. Thank you, Herm. Hope he throws a Tom King rant in the montage. Man, I really should have done that. Chocos, what is up? 817 Michael. Any cover of the week guesses? I don't know if anybody guessed Dominatrix. What's up, JW? What's up, Tom? Thank you. What's up, Meso? Thank you. What's up, Lucas? Thank you. Hey, Spillio, how you doing, my man? Nice seeing Baby Robbie. I love that you say Baby Robbie. I was 35 in that video. Yeah, Transformers. George says, called it. Read it today. It was freaking great. Heck yeah. Hey, BlackBox Comics, what's up? Dimitri, I got your message. I'll message you back. Can I call you tomorrow, like afternoon? Let me know. Oh, I love you, Stu. Yeah, Eric, it's a knockoff GoBot. GoBots were first, right? I think technically. Only thing I'm missing of Daniel Warren Johnson's is Space Mullet. Hard to find a print copy. Oh, yeah, I've never seen that. I've never read that. Best comic book review show, bar none. Well, thank you so much. We are the reigning champs of Best Comic Book Review. Hope you vote for us to continue that pace this year. We're not talking about G2, brother. I do like some G2 stuff. Thank you, Black Box. Love that Daniel Warren Johnson brought some wrestling moves to Transformers. Hell yeah. Hey, Sleepy Reader. What's up, Damien? Damien says, Station, congrats on 7 non-stop years, Robbie. Well, thank you so much, Damien. Coming from someone whose thoughts and opinions on comics I really highly respect, I really appreciate that. Y'all vote for him for the Stan Lee Lifetime Achievement Award over at cbcawards.org. Do me a favor. Justin says, Transformers is a huge hard pass. So far, it's all hype. I'm just not the target audience for this. We are still sitting on 2/3 of our order, including 1/10, the 1 in 10, and the 1 in 25, and the 1 in 50. Well, maybe you should read the book, get excited about it, and go out there and hand sell it. That's what I do. Of course, the book's not out yet, so how are you still on it? How are you still sitting on it? You mean like with pool customers or something? I ordered super heavy on Transformers because I knew I'd be able to sell that number 1 for years to come. And our hype is fire at that shop. But we've been building up this hype for a couple months now. Steph says, damn, Sacrificers and Transformers in the same week. I'm just trying to put a hurting on Marvel and DC this week. Yeah, they are. Never said Todd was a great writer. Yeah, Marvel's got a bunch of $10 books coming out. I agree, Spilio. Dead Flowers is a good book. I was really impressed with that one. What's up, Mike V671? What's up, dog? Where the bud at? It's in the other room. Yeah, it's $10. I know. I don't think any book is worth $10 an issue. Jack Kirby's Star Warriors by Tom Scioli a couple weeks ago was worth $10 for me, but that's just me. It is triple-sized, Eric. It is. Damn, Jay. I mean, you're right, but damn. Damn, Jay. What's up, Kenneth? How you doing? Low paper quality and high prices. Interesting combination for Marvel, yeah. Here's the thing. Predator vs. Wolverine came out a couple weeks ago, $7.99. Everybody at the shop was bitching as they bought it. I'm almost sold out of Predator vs. Wolverine. And I'm like, this is why this happens, y'all. This is why it happens. This is why this happens. Because we keep buying them. James, thank you so much. Congrats, Rockin Robbie, on the weekly comic book review milestone. Fingers crossed it's going to be around a long time. Same here, brother. Damien says, Marvel has convinced me to stick with Marvel Unlimited. $80 a year and leave their sad paper comics behind. No shit. Hey, what's up, Glenn? Yeah, the one thing that Marvel will always have for me is a purchase of Fantastic Four. Aside from that, that's it. Adds Birds of Prey. You can take that one right off, man. Unless you want to get a headache when you read the book. Birds of Prey is a cool team. It's a cool creative team. And a cool actual team. But man, it's the coloring. It's the coloring. And the thing is, I read that issue a month ago digitally, and it was the same. It's actually worse in print. And I don't think it comes across on the thing, but I mean, y'all that have read a physical copy of Birds of Prey, you know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Watch it with that book. Oh, did I get you with the foil cover? Justin says they're slowly losing DC fans. At my store, DC sales are doing very strong. It's the Marvel sales that are dipping. But that's, every shop's different. Yeah, Spilio bragging. This Vampirella rocks, and I can't wait till tomorrow because Sarah's coming to my local comic shop tomorrow for a signing. Very excited for that, brother. Spilio says, Alice Cooper #1 is a very fun read. Please, guys, try it out. Dynamite is killing it lately. Those Abbott books are gorgeous. They are. Sammy Cavella is really, really cool. Cool concept with plot holes. It is. It is a really cool concept. Did you get Cosmic Detective? Jay, I got Cosmic Detective like a year and a half ago. It was a Kickstarter, so I got the hardcover of it. Have I read it yet? No. It's one of those things that you get. It's part of the backlog. I guess I'm a backlog bro too. What is that? I don't know. We have yet to find out. But Cosmic Detective is out in paperback this week. Matt Kent, Jeff Lemire, somebody Rubine? The art looks great. I Kickstarted it a while ago, and I got my copy. Maybe it was earlier this year or last year at some point. Spilio can't wait for the Midnite Show. Har Har is picking up plot holes, Infield Gang Massacre, Birds of Prey, and Sins of the Salton Sea. Aw, thank you, Eric. Let's show that like button some love to celebrate 7 years of these great reviews. BlackBox Comics says, don't forget to put Dead Detective #1 and Empath #1 on your pull list. BlackBox, who are the creative teams on that book? Cryo, what is up? Yeah, Transformers pick of the week, bruh. I also did a big rant about it on Sunday night. Toy Shelf, I'm buying copies to give friends who won't read it without extra motivation. I think the Transformers book has the potential to bring back old Transformers fans and to create new Transformers fans. It's going to be a big deal. Fable says, Transformers feels like a comic booky comic, and I'm here for it. Haven't read a comic for a while. Any good ones out this week? Yes. Ones I would recommend this week for sure. Transformers #1. Vampirella Dead Flowers #1. Har says, Birds of Prey looks really good to my eyes. Something slightly off about it, but it works for me. Okay. Hey, we got Bueller in the house. Bueller, my thoughts are with you. I hope everything's going swell. I know you've been going through some stuff. Bueller says, it's hard to believe you've been doing the weekly comic book review now for 37 years. Congrats, Robbie. Thank you. I've been doing it since I was 7 years old. Yeah, 140,000 plus copies of Transformers #1. That's a big deal. Hey, what's up, OUG? How you doing? While you're at cbcawards.org, vote for her, officially unofficial geek, for Best Unknown Channel. Got some super chats in. Eddie Runner with the super chat. Station Robbie, watch your review every week without fail. Thank you so much. Peter says, Robbie for president. No, thank you. Let's just keep the weekly comic book review going, right? Har says, I just want to say thanks for getting your reviews out Tuesday night. I like to grab a couple random books on Wednesdays and have found a few good series thanks to you. Well, thank you so much. Fable says, I have so many short boxes of indie comics because of Robbie. Thanks for turning me on to books other than the big two. Oh, you're welcome. Hey, what's up, Sean? Introspective. So glad to have found your reviews. They are the best on the internet. Always thoughtful and authentic with great insights into the various elements that go into a comic book. Congrats on 7 years. Thank you so much. Thank you, Blood Splatter Chatter. Y'all can get your Horror Fest shirts right now at the link in the description below. Limited time only. Oh, a very generous super chat from Castle. What's up, Spilio? Thank you so much. This is for over 100 more years of reviews. Love you, brother. Not to get too corny, but you brought me out of a tough time in my life, and I will never forget it. Well, so did you, brother. So thank you. Man. BlackBox says, Empath, writer Brian Hawkins, art Deborah Carita, colors Cisa de la Cruz, Micah Myers on the lettering, hell yeah. Dead Detective, writer Bob Hioka, art Fabio Lima, Jansen, coloring Adriano Augusto, letters Dizzy Cienti. Okay, I need to check that out. It's because of you that I started buying indie comics. Great break from DC Marvel. That's what I love to hear, Jay Blue. I love to hear shit like that. That's my goal. We all get into this game usually because of superheroes. And usually a lot of us get out of the game. But those of us that stay in and stick it through, it's usually because we go to the real shit. Not saying that Big 2 can't be real, but let's be real. Anyway, thank you for the super chats, Eddie and John. Really, really gracious. I appreciate you. This is for y'all. This is for you. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was sent to the earth some long time ago to save it or destroy. brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nana who had a sex with the demon, but was raised by Professor Broom. Now he fights evil and monsters. Shit! Now he fights with a man who's a fish named Abe. Now he fights with a fire starter named Liz and an ectoplasmic mess named Johann. PPRD. Yeah! If that was your first time checking out the Hellboy song, you should check us out on Sunday nights on Rockin Robbie Live. Boom. Great voicemail. Oh, thank you so much. Jay says, I will never get tired of hearing Robbie sing this. Well, thank you so much. Oh, yeah, Bueller did a video with BlackBox Comics last week. Go check it out, everyone. Can somebody throw the link in the description below, please? Why is Bueller not a wrench? Bueller, to celebrate 7 years. Boom. You're blue. You got a wrench. After 7 years, I finally decided you're worth it. When did we meet, Bueller? We met... May have been like 4 or 5 years ago when I met Bueller. It was a stream. Our buddy Jim Mint from Jim Mint Collectibles invited us to a show where we were going to talk about the week's comics in spoilery detail. I was there, Bueller was there, Jim Mint, and a few others. I think was Dylan went on that one. Chad was there from 90 MF Comics. 90 motherfucking comics. Anyway, 90 miles from comics is what it means. Well, who else was there? I don't remember who else was there, but it started something. It started like a friendship between me and Jim Mint, a friendship between me and Bueller, and my life has changed for the positive ever since. Meeting you, Bueller, and hanging out with you on 2 separate occasions here in my hometown on my birthday weekend for Free Comic Book Day. You got to see my shop. We took you out to dinner. We went karaokeing. That was fun. But then MegaCon, baby, that was super fun and super epic. And I cannot wait for the Slingshot, baby. Slingshot MegaCon 2024. Here we come. Yeah, on Jim's show, we bonded instantly. No joke. Hell yeah. Have you on the big screen. That was Maddie's first Hellboy song. Hell yeah. Was she laughing? Mentos fresh nose, Mentos fresh and my fan, I'm finding full of life. That one? Oh, I feel like he's about to break into that one song from Wicked. I've never seen Wicked, so I don't know what the song you're talking about. I don't. Sorry. I like older comics from the 70s and 80s, the Micronauts, Dead World, What If, them. I want to put together the first few issues of Micronauts. Definitely the first 10, 12, 13, something like that. All the golden stuff. I know Ditko did one. It's Tom Scioli that's been getting me on that one. Bueller gave me my first blue wrench, says Herm. Aw, how sweet. Do 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 do. Anybody have any questions? Hope the new Image comics can get me into G.I. Joe. Me too. Josh Williamson's the writer on those, so I have high hopes for him. But Transformers is definitely it's so freaking good, y'all. Are you staying at the same hotel as last year? Not sure. Haven't made any of those plans yet. I would like to stay at that same hotel, except for that hotel didn't have a complimentary breakfast. Complimentary breakfast is one of my favorite things at a hotel, so that kind of bothered me that they didn't do that. They had like a Starbucks location there that you could buy shit from, but if not that hotel, one right there near it, because it was right there at Twin Peaks, and that was the best part of it. Yes, there is a G.I. Joe 301 from Larry Hama. What they are doing is they are allowing Larry Hama to continue his Real American Hero series. It ended at IDW at 300. It started at Marvel with issue number 1. It will continue at Skybound/Image, not a part of the Energon universe, separate, but doing its own thing as it's been doing since the 80s. That will start with 301. Stay at the hotel we are at. I will send you the info. All right. Is it close to Twin Peaks? We have 5 rooms already. That's fine. Is it close to Twin Peaks, Bueller? How close to Twin Peaks is it? How come you aren't reading Radiant Black and the Massiveverse titles? I was reading Radiant Black, and I fell out of it pretty early on, and then I was like, this just seems like Kyle Higgins' leftover ideas from Power Rangers, and I know that it's gone really, really popular. It's got a bunch of different series, so I need to do like a recap or like I need to get caught up, basically. But that's why I don't read Radiant Black. Same thing with Black Hammer. I was reading Black Hammer, and there was a couple issues where Diamond shorted us, and I fell behind because of that. I've never gotten caught back up. Don't take an Uber, just walk. Well, I've learned that lesson, Bueller. Since it's the 7-year anniversary, what are your top 7 PCP bits? 7 PCP bits. Station. Pop, pop, boom. You're worth it. Because it comes from a very earnest and drunk Jelani telling us that we're worth it. The Hellboy song. 3 more. Don't you condescend to me. What else? What else? There's 2 more. I know one. I know number 1. I need 1 more in there. What are y'all's favorite PCP bits? Throw it out there. What's another one of my favorite bits? I guess I really like it when I say something. I do this thing where I say, like, when somebody starts asking me about Star Wars, why don't you read Star Wars? I'm like, oh, I don't take Star Wars seriously. It's not like it's Star Trek. That's a fun one, but no, that's not a top 7 bit. My number 2 would be. Did he just say making fuck? That whole thing where I look at the side and act like I'm talking to someone? That's number 2. I thought that would be number 1. Then I realized what would be number 1. And my number 1 all-time PCP bit is... And that's what we call the bit. There you go. There it is, the bit where we freeze. The bit where we all freeze. Yep, the freeze is the best bit. That's it right there. That's the bit. And I got good at it for a while, too. I'd just be like, Dylan, let me tell you something. Ha! My favorite moment of that bit was when one day we're doing it, and we all do it. Everybody does it. Just, they realize I'm doing it. Everybody does it. But Brian Weaver's sitting there, and Brian starts, like, clicking his mouse and, like, typing on his computer, like, thinking something's wrong with his computer. That cracked me up. Cracked me up. Oh, another favorite bit of mine is when every time Brian comes onto the show and I introduce him and he's excited to be there and he starts talking and I clip to that scene from Twin Peaks where he's like, I'd like 2 eggs over hard. So over hard's one of my favorite bits too. Where does the Hellboy song come from? Is it a Robbie original? Yes, it is a Robbie original. It happened off the dome randomly one night on PCP on Rockin Robbie Live. I actually clipped that out. If you type in Pop Culture Philosophers Hellboy song, you're going to be taken to a video that's going to be a clip from the Rockin Robbie Live where it first happened. So you'll hear how it's a little bit different, but it's basically the same structure and even a lot of the same lyrics. But yeah, that's available here. If someone can find that and throw it out in the chat, that'd be great. Oh, Bueller says, my favorite is the clips Robbie would send me for the coffee show. Oh my goodness, I loved doing those. Those were so much fun. My favorite was the one where I was acting like I was held captive by you, and I was like, please, send help. I'd bring out the lightsaber. Yeah, what the fuck is a backlog, bro? One of my new favorite bits is the whole, Stu, you got to get a new microphone before you come on this show. Steph says the freezing bit is amongst the best. Dude, it gets you too. Verno says Jelani is my new favorite bit. Here's what's funny. In backchat, before we started Verno, he called him Jelani, and I went, hey, just so you know, so you don't get embarrassed, it's Jelani. Jelani. Because Jelani has to deal with that his entire life. People calling him Jelani. And I'm like, no, it's Jelani. He's like, okay, Jelani. He practices it. And he still calls the motherfucker Jelani. Jelani does have so many great quotes. New Mike Stew didn't help you too much last night, did it? Let's do another shot of tequila. Why not? It's 7 years. Dun, dun, dun. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, thank you for throwing out the Hellboy song, Big Herm. There's a Hellboy, like, little poster right here by Mike Mignola. And I would just try to do these dumb freestyles when I would get a super chat. And one day, I just looked over and I saw the Hellboy thing, so I just started singing about Hellboy. And that's where it starts. So there you go. Here's to everybody, y'all. Have a good... Was appropriate, though, that while we all were doing Horror Fest, it sounded haunted. Yeah, it did. Because whenever one of us would talk, the audio would bleed into Stu's mic, and it would just be like... whatever the hell that was. Starscream is in the house. How you doing? I have a Backlog Bro version of the Hellboy song. Do y'all remember when y'all were on the stream, all of us, and we tried to do the Hellboy song? Like, a bunch of us tried to do the Hellboy song all at once, but we were on StreamYard, so everybody's like, shit was different, and it had this weird echo, and I think we broke the universe when we did that, to be honest. The first 12 issues of Micronauts by Michael Golden are pivotal. Pivotal, yes. And I don't want the omnibus or a trade paperback collection. I want the original issues because I got that facsimile of Micronauts #1, and it's foil, and it's gorgeous because of that, but I do not like the reproduction of the color at all. At all. Who out there knows anybody from Fantagraphics? I saw a comment earlier that said you have to do really weird comics that nobody ever reads to get on their radar. No, I do. Like, I don't do it necessarily always weekly because I don't have time to read all the graphic novels and stuff. Fantagraphic doesn't do a lot of single issues. But yeah, I love that shit. I love that stuff. So yeah. Yeah, we did open a portal. Welcome, his name is Hellboy. It was like, Hellboy. And the fucking reality started rippling. It was like... Sure means you're worth it. Hell yeah. You're worth it's a good bit because it comes from that stream where Jelani was like, so drunk. This dude's like, falling asleep at the fucking... and one of my favorite streams we've ever done We the longest stream we ever did, 6 hours. We did on New Year's Eve, I think going from 2020 into 2021. 6-hour stream leading into the new year. It was awesome. Yeah, what the fuck is a backlog, bro? One of my new favorite bits, too, that's just now developing is this whole, like, we're doing this thing. Me and Fable are going to, like fake, like a feud and a rivalry over him trying to usurp me as the best pop culture show in comics YouTube. So, how's Jay Strick? Will he be back for the panel anytime soon? I wish. I asked him to be on the panels with us still. I'm like, hey man, you should pop in and hang out with us. And I know that one day he will. One day Strickland will be here again. I feel it. But Strickland's still a very good friend of mine, and I love that dude so much. He's part of my inner circle. Your Aquaman rant on Manny and myself on one of our shows was funny. Bruh, you got to remind me of that one. I've done so many streams, I don't remember that one now. What was that one? You got a promo for me Saturday, brother. Okay. We should start. Tell you what. Now that you're on YouTube, I can start sending you bits. I can start sending you promos from me to put into your show, and you can cut promos on me that I'll put into Rockin Robbie Live. We're like, all right, and now here's a message from Rockin Robbie. Let me tell you something, Brother Fable. You may be awesome, you may be a great leader, but you will never be Rockin Robbie Live. I'm Rockin Robbie Live. That's another one of my favorite bits, is Faux Robbie. Faux Robbie's another one of my favorite bits. Speaking of Faux Robbie.
Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Live.
So that's one of my favorite bits as well. Another favorite bit was from a Dylan's Horror Show, but speaking of Jay Strick, is when Perry was trying to do like some freestyle, and he was like, yo, my name is Jay Strick. I got that straight dick. Faux Robbie strikes again. Manny might still have the clip. What the fuck was I saying? Was I telling y'all were wrong about Aquaman or something? I need a pop culture championship belt. Thank you, Jay. How about another one of my favorite bits is every time I have Dynamite on the show or I'm on one of their shows, they have internet fucking problems. And then they always act surprised. They're like, oh, what's going on with our internet? Like, y'all's internet sucks. Like, I don't know. I think everybody needs to buy Vampirella and Darkwing Duck this week. Maybe we can get them some Google Fiber or some shit. I don't fucking know. Oh man, I don't even remember that, dude. I want to see that. If y'all still have that Aquaman rant and that bit, please let me know. That would be fucking hilarious to see again. Friend of the show's another one of my favorite bits. Write that down. Friend of the show. Okay. All right, to answer some of the normal questions I usually get that I haven't gotten tonight is this. At the start of the weekly comic book review, what I would do is I would sit down and I would read all the comics, 30, 40 comics. I would just read them and I would do the show, and it would take me all damn day. So I go to work on Tuesdays at like 9 in the morning. We do the shipment. I usually leave at 2 o'clock my time. I go home and I start reading. I used to be done between 7 and 8, and then I would put together the video and I would upload it. Now I read the DC books a little bit early. I read the Image books a little bit early, and maybe a straggling indie here and there. I read a little bit early, and by early I mean like a couple days, because I gotta have read it within the last few days to like really retain it fully. So nowadays my typical thing is on Sunday I read my DC books so I can do the DC sneak peek on Rockin Robbie Live, and then usually between Monday morning, Monday night, but usually Monday morning, Tuesday morning, or a little bit Sunday afternoon, I'll read the Image books now. For a long time, I would read them in the morning before I went to work. Sometimes I couldn't get them in. So usually now I have a smaller stack to deal with on Tuesdays. But I have other things going on in my life. So sometimes I don't, like today I didn't get to reading until about 3:30. So it took me an hour and a half after getting off work till I was actually able to sit down to read the books. And I did reread Transformers again, and I did reread Gods again. So thank you, Twitch. It was about the new Aquaman miniseries coming out, and we weren't digging it, and you just went off on us. I got to see that. I want to relive that. Favorite comic book memories, young, teen, adult. Favorite comic book memories as a kid was getting comics from my stepdad. He used to send them to me. Some of my first comics I read at 5, 6 years of age. And he would send them to me because he was in the Navy. So some of my earliest comic memories are that. I love those memories. I remember going and buying The Death of Superman. That's a really cool memory that I have. I remember going and buying X-Men #1. That was a cool memory. As a teen, Avengers #1 by George Perez and Kurt Busiek. I remember that. I really, really liked that. Getting into Preacher for the first time was a big deal to me. Reading Sandman for the first time as a teenager was good. I remember hearing about this Alan Moore cat, and I picked up League of Extraordinary Gentlemen #1 before I even read Watchmen. That was a cool memory. Working at my first comic shop, Comic Corner. My first comic shop gig was in 2001. Loved that. As an adult, so many memories from here on YouTube, y'all. Like, this is a new favorite memory, you know? Like, I love comics, and they've always been a big, big part of my life. But one of my favorite memories is being recognized by a creator the first time at a con. And that creator was Liana Kangas. And that's why I love their work so much. I have huge amounts of respect for Liana, and I consider Liana a friend. And Liana Kangas was the first professional to recognize me at the con. And then about an hour later, I had my second professional recognize me at a con, and that was David Papose. So that was cool. Lots of other great memories too. Meeting Dennis Camp. That was great. Not meeting him in person, but just getting to know him. Having Ron V on the show. Having Dan Waters on the show. Alex Packnadell on the show. Having Jimmy Palmiotti on the show. Having a great conversation with him. Conversations with Anna Mia. So many great memories. Hosting panels with Chris Claremont, Roy Thomas, Ron Friends, Tom DeFalco, Mike Grell, Kevin Eastman. The hour-long panel I hosted with Kevin Eastman is one of my favorite memories of all time. All time. Never met John Schnepp, no. Big ups, Rockin Robbie. Your show is essential. I could see an iteration of it on Teleby. In smell-o-vision, preferably. Hell yeah. Thank you, Twitch. My favorite Rockin' Robbie Live, Herm says, was when I was watching one of your shows on the Rewind because I had to work, and you announced that I was the winner of the 3K Fantastic Four Omnibus. And my wife came from the other room and said, "Did he say your name? That was awesome." Hell yeah. Made my year. Aww. Which comic book characters would be on my Mount Rushmore? Doctor Doom, Darkseid, Lex Luthor, and Green Goblin. All villains. Apocalypse too. Heroes, Blade, Mr. Fantastic, Aquaman, Black Panther. Ariaga says, what's the average time it takes you to read each comic? On average, 7 minutes. I actually timed that a while ago. 7 minutes on average per comic. Oh, was it Void Song? Void Song wound up being a piece of shit. So I was wrong, if that's what it was about. Somebody asked me for an update on my comic. 12 pages are done. We're about to start scripting it. We're about to have another meeting. We're going to script it, and then we will see. But It is underway. It's been underway, and my buddy Kevin's doing amazing work. Fable's seen a couple pages. I know Mike's seen some pages. Nick and Eric, did we show y'all pages at Memphis? Anissa says, I definitely got into indies only because of you. Not really recommended in DC. Hell yeah. Well, thank you. Oh, was it the one with the kid? Was that Aquaman Becoming? When you played my track on Rockin Robbie Live, I knew you were a real one. I'll never forget that. Aw. Oh, we can't rush this art. It looks amazing. We're going to do a crowdfunding for it. We haven't thought about publishers yet. Right now our thought is we got to get some words on that page because we basically did it like Jack and Stan did. We had some conversations together. We broke it down. He went and he did the first 12 pages, and now that that's done, we're developing more ideas and thoughts, and we're going to get together and script it, and then we are looking to get letterer right now. And all the letterers I want are too expensive or too busy, so we'll see what happens. Jay says, you can review 30 books off the top of your head. Meanwhile, I have to write a page and a half of notes for 8 books. Well, I've been doing this basically since I was 5, which means I've been doing this for 37 years. Well, not the YouTube thing, obviously, but. Spilio saw some of those drawings. Says the art is amazing. One Fable says the art is fire, 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 guys. You definitely want to get this one. Sneak peek, can't do that. Robbie, you reading so many books in 60, 90 minutes, don't you lose some of the enjoyment since it's like fleeting? No, not at all. Side note, what do letterers do? They're the ones that put the letters in the book. They're the ones that put the words in the book. Actually put the words. They don't come up with the words, but they put the words in the book. And there's an art to lettering. You want your sneak peek or you riot? Well, Kevin is allegedly getting those images ready for me so we can send them to me so we can start thinking of the they do more than they make the fonts hip hop, but they do more than just that because they actually will help guide the reader through. Like there's an art to lettering, but fonts are a big part of it for sure. Placement's a big part too. Best letterer of all time, in my opinion, is Todd Klein. But Aditya Bidikar and Hassan Otsman El Hal are two of the best letterers in the business right now. But as soon as Kevin sends me clean versions, because what Spilio and Fable saw were images I took of my computer screen. So as soon as he sends me the nice raw files, I'm going to share it with all of you in the Excitable crew. Oh, and Brooks and Jelani have seen it, and they really like it too. Sloppy lettering sucks. Can ruin a book. What about our impromptu MegaCon panel? Robbie says, what are we going to talk about? I say, don't worry about that. Yeah, we went. Me and Bueller can just go for an hour. No plan. That's what we can do. We can do that. If y'all want to see that again, let us know because I would love to do it again. Here on the channel and, of course, at MegaCon. Absolutely hip-hop. I mean, really more calligraphy than font. The best letterers give each bubble its own expressive form when necessary. Hell yeah. All right, y'all. We're going to wrap it up for tonight, but thank you all so much, so freaking much for 7 years of your support, of you being here for the weekly comic book review. This channel would not exist, would not be successful without this show and without y'all making it a successful show. So thank you so much. Here's to a lot more. The show where I read a lot of comics and I let you know what I thought about them. And we always start with the pick of the week. And this week's pick of the week was Transformers #1. So what are you reading? What are you digging? Let us know down in the comments. Thank you all for watching this live in the chat. You can catch me live again Sunday night for the Cowboys 49ers game. And we got the Super Chat menu available. It's going to be a really fun time. Super Chat menu shows are always fun. Watching the games are always fun. I really do appreciate y'all. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading. Station. Pop, pop. Boom.
Hey everybody, it's Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for Robbie Rants. In fact, it's time for the first episode of the brand new weekly comic book review. Alright gang, that's right, this week's comics, and we start with the pick of the week. The Vision. Generation Gone was really cool, interesting, and very refreshing. This is basically Batman, God of War, or as I like to call him, Wonder Wayne. Dan Slott did this huge, crazy arc taking Peter back and forth, up and down over the last, 10 years? So it's nice to get a fresh voice on the character. New What If, I think this is the final of this current batch of What If books. It's What If Magic has become the Sorcerer Supreme, and this was probably the best one out of all of them. Fantastic work, a great conclusion. You guys just knocked this out of the park. You nailed the ending. You nailed that landing. You totally sold it. I love this book so much. I cannot wait to read it over and over and over for times to come. Now, let's jump over to Marvel. X-Men #1. That's right. It's the dawn of X. It's the show where I read a lot of comic books, and I'll let you know what I thought about them, and we always start with the pick of the week. But before we do that, let's address the elephant in the room. This is going to be the last weekly comic book review for the foreseeable future. I started doing these back in October of 2016. I have not missed a week yet, so it really sucks that I won't be able to do it next week, and that's because Diamond Comics has stopped distributing new print comics to comic shops. Not a lot of comic books today. In fact, no comic books available in print today. Diamond distribution is shut down. Comic shops are closed down for the most part. There are no new comics out, except for online. So I checked out Comixology to see what few offerings there were, and they are very few, but I found some really good ones I want to point out, including the pick of the week. And last week we had Diamond returning. This week we have Marvel Comics returning. So we finally have a proper stack of comic books, and it delivers a very personal, nuanced, tragic, and human tale. Jump over to DC Comics. We got Dark Knight's Death Metal issue #4, shiny foil cover. For me, this was by far the best issue of this. If you're a fan of Rom V, especially Rom V's indie work, I would highly encourage you to check this out. Anand Arcade was the artist along with Rom on the writing on books such as Graffiti's Wall and of course Blue and Green, which was one of my favorite comic book of the last few years. Radio Spaceman Mission to Numa 4 issue #2, the final part of this 2-issue series to introduce the world to this new character, Radio Spaceman, from Mike Mignola. In the first issue, they lay all that groundwork. And in the second issue, one of those soldiers has become a cartoonist who is most popular for doing a strip called Junkyard Joe, which is based on this robotic hero that he had from his war experience. It gets a little talky, some talking head moments, but then there are moments where the art just absolutely shines. I can't show you many of those scenes because they happen at the end. And I don't want them to lose the impact when you read this story. I really liked it. I thought the artwork was great. The coloring provides an atmosphere and a mood. And Aditya Bidikar on the lettering, he's just one of the best letterers in the biz and probably will be of all time because he is that freaking impressive and his work is that much a part of the book. Honestly, I've never liked Spider-Man 2099 except for an issue of What The, where they introduced Spider-Ham 2099, and probably just because I thought it was really clever that his name is Pigel O'Hara. Yeah, I don't think I like this. I'm not going to keep reading this book. It's kind of got the color palette of, I don't know, something noirish, but it's also very kinetic, dynamic when it needs to be. It is a very solid detective story. It is a Batman Elseworlds type tale, so it's not set in any continuity. It is its own vision of Gotham, of Batman, of Gordon. It introduces a new villain, which is absolutely fascinating to me. The look of this book is absolutely striking. It is masterful. It is just downright masterful. The story is good.
The story is solid. The story is very serviceable. But that artwork, oh my goodness, there is nothing like it in shops this week. There hasn't been anything like it in a while. Well, maybe. That's hyperbolic, but whatever.
Anyway, thank you guys so much, and please do join us at popculturephilosophers.com for podcast blogs, top 5 lists, and a whole lot more. And like I said, please subscribe, click that thumbs up button. We'll catch you next time. Peace out.